Should I restate that?
Please.
Okay. The applicant for the board is not available, so therefore we're going to postpone the executive session. We'll talk about when actually discuss it. So that brings us to the public hearing, 24 First Street. So, gentlemen, if you could, what is all of that?
Oh, that's in the GIS.
Oh, that's the, okay.
Yeah.
So if you could, so we're going to open up the public hearing. The way that we do that is that the applicant will make a presentation of what they're proposing. And then we will allow the public to take a look at the documents that we may have, and then we'll take public comment. After that, we'll leave it to the board, the one checking in remotely, and we'll vote on the application. So if one of you gentlemen would like to give a presentation to the public as far as what you're planning on doing.
Thank you. Do you want me to talk?
Please.
Yeah. Okay, do you want me to just stay here or what?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you have to do any
Okay.
show and tell, but just.
Well,
There was
at the last meeting, you had asked to see samples. We got samples in a few days, and a few of the board members went down to the church and looked at them and I guess compared it to what's existing.
Right.
We rewrote the proposal with all the changes that you recommended last time to make sure we specified exactly what's going to be copper and what's going to be aluminum, that the bricks on the chimney would match. And we have 3 different samples of the asphalt shingle that you can see what it looks like compared to what the existing slate roof looks like. And one thing that was brought up, and we have the contractors here, Vesubio Burnell and his son Louis Burnell. They're the contractor that's going to do the work, and they can answer any other questions you may have. And so we have the samples. We brought them. They saw them down at the church, and we brought them to the meeting. And in the contract, we also marked up that the handrail would be made to match existing to the church and the front rail. The one that's bad has obviously been a replacement that was not done as well as it could have been done. And we have different, did you give them copies with the prices of there's 4 different options we have right now at the end of the contract that specify the 3 different grades of asphalt shingles, and the 4th option, which is basically real slate, which is a lot more money, and it's really out of the price range and budget that your church can afford at this time.
Okay, can you just very briefly recap what the scope is? In other words, it's obviously replacing the shingles and.
Okay, the scope of work would be that originally we were thinking of just repairing the slate, but after examining the field conditions and realizing it'd be best to redo the entire roof to make sure there's no problems that would come back on us in the future. So what we're gonna do is take the entire slate roof off the upper roof and the porch over the side door. And we're gonna leave the slate roof on the front porch because there's no problems there. And besides redoing the entire roof that I just said, with new plywood or boards if needed, ice shield and asphalt shingles or slate. We're also gonna redo the flashing at the chimneys, put chimney caps up, cover a windowsill that's deteriorating with copper to restore that. Replace the stone steps on the side and on the back. The back are gonna be taken off and reset to go into the basement. The side steps are cracked and they're gonna be replaced with bluestone and the new wrought iron hand railing that will match the church and the front railing. And then we're gonna repoint all the brick on the building and we're gonna paint basically all the windows and all the woodwork, the cornice on the building and redo the gutters. Is that everything?
That's, yes, and I think there's one chimney.
Anything I missed?
I think one chimney we have to pretty much take it down to the roof line and rebuild it, put a new cap on. And one of the existing chimney, we have to pretty much, I think, take it down a little bit, use the crown and put a new cap on.
Okay, so the two chimneys that are above the roof, like Eusebio just said, is one's gonna have to be rebuilt from the roof up and one's gonna just be the top of the chimney.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
And all of that's.
That's all in there.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that there were 4 options at the tail end of it. And which one do you want us to vote on? Or should we have?
My personal choice would be
Yeah.
the best, the asphalt. Yeah.
Clear ones that had a little more depth and shadow, so it would mimic the pattern of a slate roof.
Yeah, this is.
Not
just a slate, that's best possible.
I think that's the one we're talking about, yeah, the chamfered corner.
It's a little bit more expensive than the other one, but it's a lot less expensive than the real slate. And the one thing about that one is there's not gonna be any maintenance on it, like there would be on slate, which would be a costly thing to keep maintained.
This is.
Okay, so that's option number 3.
Yes.
Yep, correct. That's all. Yep.
I mean, I should let Todd, did you wanna talk about the idea for a request?
Yeah, are you saying because I can't see, is option 3, Lauren, the one that you and I saw?
The one
Like,
with the chamfered corners that has like a few shingles stacked on top of each other to create more depth.
okay, yeah, yeah. When we went, Lauren and I were kind of on the same page. I think that seemed like the best option given the circumstances. One idea that we had was in order to, potentially you're going to run into issues on the main church building in the future. And one way to, I think, better ensure that roof can be preserved would be to salvage as much of the material from this roof as possible. I'm sure a lot of it is damaged. We did see a bunch that were cracked, but the pieces that are intact and in good enough condition, I think it would be great if you could salvage those and save them maybe in the basement of the house.
Okay.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's part of the
Yep,
contract.
that's part of the contract, yep.
We added that to the contract.
Okay, great.
Okay. I guess the only public. Do we have any comments from the public? No. All right. So with that, I'll bring to a close the public hearing portion of it. And I'll open it up to any comments from the board.
I think in general, our guidelines say to retain historic fabric and replace. Any replacement material should match the historic fabric. We understand that this is a nonprofit, and we understand that there's extensive damage. When Todd and I were there, there's a lot of drop ceilings in the building. And so there was a lot of water damage to the drop ceiling. So it clearly hadn't been, it had been a problem for a long time. So I think given that, and that we appreciate the work that you do in the community, I think I am okay with this sample of the asphalt on the condition that all of the slates on that on the rectory building are saved because they match the ones on the church, and that the church roof is regularly inspected so that we don't get into a situation like the one that we're at in the rectory building where it's been on so long and now suddenly the whole thing.
We can do that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's a great solution.
Did you hear that? They just.
Todd, do you have any comments that you want to toss in at this time?
To make sure, if we need
Um,
use some of those slates.
Yeah, that's what we have to say.
Yeah.
I don't wanna-
Yeah, we can
The palette.
definitely do that.
Yeah, I would pretty much just echo Lauren's sentiment. I think that's pretty spot on. Of course, if in an ideal world, we'd be able to repair and preserve that existing roof, but I do feel like this is a good option and it will better ensure the lifespan of the church roof this way also.
Okay. With that, I'll go ahead and close discussion. Anybody have any other comments that they want to bring up at this point?
I have one quick thing. So with the slates that are on the roof, we're gonna try our best, because once you remove one, another one cracks here. We're gonna try our best to preserve as much as we can,
Right.
some might break, some might not. But I just want to clarify that before anyone else, assumes that we're gonna save all of it, So we're gonna try our best to, save the best ones that we can, put it on a pallet. And then, if anything later on down the road, we can just let you
Yeah.
guys know beforehand.
Father said he can keep it indoors in the basement of one of the buildings.
Right. I've dealt enough with slate that it's not realistic to salvage all of them because
No, it's,
a lot of them are broken already, so.
Yeah.
What we're looking at is trying to save as many good tiles that could be used on churches, so.
Yeah,
To
100%.
save money, you guys.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, so with that, I'll call for a vote. Todd, your vote?
I'd vote to approve the application using the sample number 3.
Okay. Lauren? So that's all right. We
Aye.
need to have a
Yeah, I
second.
second that.
Okay, and we have an aye vote from Todd. How do you
Aye.
vote?
Aye.
Aye, aye. It's approved.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
The third
Option
sample.
3, Six grand banner.
Take this back. We're not gonna hang on to it.
And then it's, okay,
Thank you.
I mean,
Yeah.
or whatever you get, yeah.
Their decision, copy of their decision to the building inspector to get the building.
Okay. Now, all of this documentation's been submitted to Abby.
Okay.
Okay, and how about, do we have the return receipts?
Yeah, I made a copy of these ones, so these are the correct ones. And then this is the public hearing that went in.
You still gotta get.
Reverend Lutz
We
did
need
mention that when
copy
he
of
went to
your
the
insurance
post office,
certificate
it
for the
was
building
named like,
inspector.
Yeah.
Because
I
we
guess
gotta
the
put
clerk
that together
is
with,
familiar
their
with
decision, and then we'll get the building
That's
permit.
why all of them kind of came out stamped the same address, but he did submit those out.
Back to the church and.
Yeah.
do the paperwork.
Why don't you hang on to that? That'll go into the file.
Sure.
Okay, It's all approved. Thank you very much. We appreciate your cooperation
Thank
as
you.
far as doing this.
Thank you for your input too.
You,
We will issue a certificate of appropriateness probably over the weekend, this
Okay.
coming weekend. And what I'll do is I usually send it out electronically to you as well as the building.
Oh, sure.
inspector.
Yep.
Greg, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, with this weather, we're not gonna start immediately anyways. So you'll send a copy to Father Lutz and to Greg Warner then?
Yeah,
So we
I'll
don't
send
need
it
Take
to,
any paperwork with us.
right, there's no need for it because it all comes electronically.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Okay, next we have 50 Main Street. Ethan, is that you?
Yes.
Okay, can you take us through what you're proposing?
You have it there. So as part of a kitchen remodel, there's an existing. You have a copy? I have it on my computer, but I didn't hook up the Zoom. There's an existing, I think the easiest place to look maybe is that page A300. Perhaps, but there's an existing door. It's an odd door. It's an odd building all around, but in the process of kind of rearranging some of the kitchen, and also quite honestly reducing access to that roof because we've had issues with people just going out on it. Anyway, long story short, the hope is to replace it with a window in the same location. I actually really am remiss. I apologize, but graphically, the intent. The intent is it for it to be a 2/2 to match, which I know should be on these. The truth is it is on them. If you look really closely at A302, way down on the Anderson, kind of the Anderson spec sheet, I called out 2x2 equal light example. And then also on the application, I have the language is to replace with, if you look at the scope of work, I said new window to replace the existing exterior door grill pattern to match existing. And that's the intent. I apologize for the, I don't know, it was just came out as a 3/3 and I didn't modify that.
This is an apartment, over the store that's on the second.
Yeah, but this is the view, you can see, it's, I mean, to the extent that it's visible from the street, it's the back.
The windows on the,
From
which?
the back, so view from Public
The
Way,
north side? I thought I said west for some reason.
The west side of the building, and this photo looks like it's taken as if you're staying at the Depot restaurant
no,
or a railroad.
this photo, this is Railroad Avenue, almost to Stone Street. You can just barely see it, I think.
What is the north side?
Let me look
Talking
at that.
about this.
It's a little confusing. Yeah, it's north or
Yeah.
northwest.
So it's the.
The
building
riverside,
looks-
right?
It's from Railroad Avenue, so it's not. It's, I guess, towards Beacon, I guess that's right, northwest.
There, yeah, okay. And the egress into this unit, you have on page 250, is that the unit we're talking about? And
Right.
just kind of understand
Oh.
where the plan the window is.
Oh, I'm sorry. On page 250, A250, there's a, yeah, elevation 2. It's it kind of showed it as a,
Yeah,
it's here above the sink.
got it.
So that's where that door is.
Okay, and there's not gonna be any issue as far as egress?
It's not an actual egress location. I just want to make sure that, good, if you need to help, you know, it's not an egress window. There are egress windows from the upstairs apartment. It's not technically an egress, but the reason that I would prefer the casement. I mean, I guess operationally, it's similar to the door, and that what I'm saying is that you could theoretically hop out of it in a pinch.
So the glazed part will be, even if it follows the 2/2 light pattern, it will be 2 feet 5 inches wide and 2 feet 11 inches tall, which matches the glazed opening ish.
It's
So it's a little.
I was trying to get a little bigger. That's gonna be. I was trying to get as big a window in there because it's also a question of light, and that's actually, it's amazing in these old apartments because everyone now loves views, but that's actually like the nicest view from the whole apartment is that window. So you can see Storm King and everything, but right now it's kind of a forgotten little spot.
And so then whatever difference is in the opening, is wood cladding or something below?
Yeah, though I think I'm concerned to try to match the reason that I was proposing that, which maybe seems odd. But I was concerned about being able to match, the rest of the building is stucco, which is terrifying, but we could potentially match it, though I'd be worried about matching it without ever developing seams and leaks. So that was my idea, to basically create a little. Again, I mean, I don't even know that would be. So you can't even, I don't know how visible that would be. And there's this existing screen or storm door that just, not in great shape. But you can see that in the, what's that? The whole thing. When I was young, I grew up in this building, and when I was a kid, there was a little deck out there, but it's not in the future.
Okay, so this is going to be a casement, but it's a 2/2 casement,
Yeah,
so that. And what's the size?
it's,
2 foot by 2 8.
Get it?
that's the existing glazing.
Okay, I
Page
see.
1, you have it 3 feet wide by 3 6 high.
That's the rough opening.
Got it.
This is, we're talking about the Bijou building, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm having trouble figuring out where this is. I can't, is it the back roof, like the back roof line? Under the back roof line?
So the back roof line, I guess the easiest way to see it is, where did I put that photo from the street? Is on A300. So that original structure that this is in is, it's actually kind of an amazing building. It's like a post and beam. I had my car in there. He said, maybe late 1700s even, but then the theater was built to the back in 1924. So that's that. So on that existing conditions, this goes, this facade faces the northwest, basically towards Railroad Ave. And that's why I drew that existing door view from Railroad Ave. I mean, because I know that, I don't know exactly the purview about visibility from the street, but it's very, it's very,
Minimal.
minimal. I would be doing my proposal for the 2/2. I would do anyway, because it's actually like the last sort of remnant of whenever, I don't know if it's original. I was just looking at the existing rough opening to try to figure that out, but it's definitely the oldest exterior door or window thing in this building.
What is this roof? Roof, I mean, what is,
That's the old theater built in 1924. That's currently the antique store. That was a 1924 addition to the original.
and this
I,
this is the north elevation?
Northwest,
North.
facing Railroad Ave. So Main Street and then Railroad Ave is stretches from Stone to Depot Square.
It parallels Main Street.
Yeah.
I just would chime in that the rest of the building are 1/1, so I don't think this personally should be a fake 2/2. Casement is one thing, but faking the break in multiple directions, I don't think would be successful. So if we are going with a casement for egress reasons, I feel like it should be 1/1, like the rest of the building.
You mean like a divided light in the middle of the casement?
Well, I guess what he's saying is that they shouldn't match these, which are 1/1. right?
Okay, I mean, that's an interesting logic from, I wouldn't mind, but those all, I think those were replacements. I could find an old photo, but those were all replacement. That's a dormer added certainly much later than this. That dormer that you're calling out is older than this door.
Right, but everything in that building has been replaced on the exterior, right? So there is no original fabric left. If this is the last of it, and it would be different, I think, if you were trying to replace this in kind with a wood door, then I'd say for sure, match what's there. But to try to fake what's there with something that would never have historically been used is not gonna, replacing a double hung window with a casement and trying to make it look like a double hung, my personal opinion, is very rarely successful from a visual standpoint. And then trying to mimic the divided light nature, which is also rarely successful, makes it kind of doubly unsuccessful in my opinion. So I don't know how the other board members feel, but the rest of the building is 1/1. I see no reason to try to fake a 2/2 there.
Why would you want it 2/2?
Why would I want it? Because that's what's there, and funny, I see it exactly the opposite. Oddly enough, when I got the quote, they sent it as a true divided light, which but anyway, yeah, my intention was to, like I said, that it's the sort of the last. It actually was with a heavy heart that I even considered getting, or not just keeping the door, but doesn't, like I said, it doesn't make any sense. It's not, it's like an 8-inch sill on the inside. And it really makes the existing interior kind of not usable from the electricity, mainly the electric is substandard, but like I said, my intention, I get what you're saying, but it would seem to me odd to replicate the, who knows when those were replaced, but it's.
I would feel differently if you were coming up, with a proposal to replace all of the windows in the building over some kind of time frame. And the goal was to restore it back to something more appropriate, but that's not what's being proposed. And I wouldn't anticipate that is in your plan. So in my mind, it makes more sense for the building itself to kind of holistically make sense visually.
That, and also, you're talking about, it looks like you're filling the opening of the door. So what is happening on the inside in this area here?
If you go to the,
That new kitchen, so previously there wasn't a.
no, there's a kitchen, it's mainly, it's hard to describe. I describe this, it's not remodeling, but modeling. It's just kind of like a jumble of appliances.
Okay, but
and the electric is substandard.
is this what your intention is to have that?
Yeah,
Okay,
so yeah,
so basically what you're going to do is have a casement around the window. And then, the wall is gonna be finished off, is it, you know,
are you
sheet
talking
rock?
about the interior?
Yeah, interior.
Why is the interior part of it?
Well, I'm trying to understand what you're trying to do.
I'm just trying to put a window.
Okay,
in-
and my
in kind of in the
question, my
existing
question is,
opening.
your intention was to sort of mimic what was there in the door, right? That's
Right,
why you went
basically,
to two.
the 2/2, yeah.
So my question is that why not just leave the door there and just cover it over on the inside?
Because it basically, you can feel the wind blowing through it, and it's the only opening that's not, other than the front doors, it's the only opening that is. I don't think it's conducive to a healthy interior environment in terms of its current state. It's
Well,
rotted,
But
it's,
you can repair the interior condition. And just leave the existing door there.
I don't think I don't think that I could show it to you, but you can kind of see it from the surrounds is rotted, the door is rotted. You can't really,
Okay, so
it's
the doors-
cobbled together, this, like the screening you can see is basically done on that, with that kind of rotted out door on the exterior, but a modern window would allow it to be opened and with a screen.
I think that makes sense, that if this is a door that can really no longer safely be used as a door, since there's no deck there, that it's replaced with an optical window where you can maximize light and ventilation. So I think it makes sense to make the swap and to maximize the opening, to allow in as much light possible. As far as 2/2 or 1/1, et cetera, like I'm not given the location of this and how hard it is to see, and the fact that the other windows have all been replaced at various times, and yes, this is historic fabric, but it's anomalous. I'm not one way or the other. And it doesn't matter to me. I think the panel on the bottom is a little bit odd as a remnant, but maybe it just needs to get cleaned up, but I get there's stucco, and so that makes it fussy. That's maybe the only spot where I'm not totally sold. And again, it was a door, so that's a nice nod to the fact that it was a door. You show that there's some panelization under the windows, that's sort of leaning into the fact that there's history there.
Is the door panel staying, or is there like horizontal clapboard siding being installed? Because that's what it looks like in the drawing.
The thought was currently to do basically like a horizontal clapboard siding, though I'd be open to the stucco, though like I said, it's a bit of a, I don't know, Pandora's box in terms of, but I think it may not be as hard as I'm making it out to be with modern, some moderately flexible stuccos. I'm surprised actually by the notion to not attempt to save the one remaining sort of older portion of facade. That was kind of what I would have thought.
But we're not talking about saving. We're not talking about saving it.
You're deleting the door and you're replacing it with the window, so I think the 2/2 really is.
I mean, honestly, casements are inappropriate for the district #1, but like to me, getting over that hurdle, again, it doesn't really make sense to me why we would be trying to, copy something in a different way. I do
mean,
think stucco underneath would be an important element.
The casement is sort of comparable. I can't get into the casement thing. I mean, I personally believe that they're older than double hung. But that being said,
Yeah, age isn't the only reason though, but yeah, you're right. Casements are a more primitive version.
The door, the casement kind of replicates the door function. There's also there's a kind of a commonly used, don't know if it's historically, there's a clothesline that the casement also, that's commonly used by tenants, that the casement kind of replicates the function of a door in terms of using it. It might be a little more difficult, but I think at least for some dedicated users could still do.
So that sort of defeats my thought that you need to get rid of the door because it's unsafe, since there's no platform. If they're suggesting people use the clothesline to the window to access the clothesline.
You just reach out.
And
That's
if there's-
kind of how it's been done over time.
You're not calling out onto the.
No.
If there's cabinetry in front of the window, it's gonna be difficult for anyone to reach out any longer too.
Yeah, the neighbor does the, yeah, I mean, the neighbor does the clothesline out the window. I mean. And neighbor, that's just sort of an added, these are all the kind of design factors.
Lauren, your thoughts?
I think this is a very non-visible window on a tertiary facade. And I think you would never really are seeing it in connection with the rest of the building. I agree with Kate that, in this particular instance, because seeing this from the public way is from such a difference, replicating the light pattern is, it's fine, I think you just won't be able to see it. You won't recognize it as a casement. So I think really either way is.
All right, yeah, there are three things that I think we need to decide on. Business about changing it to a casement window. Todd, you have any objections to that?
I'm not opposed to that fundamentally. I mean, there's precedent elsewhere.
So the issue about changing it to a casement window is accepted.
Because it's not visible and not connected to the primary facade, et cetera, yeah.
Okay, so then the next thing is business about whether it's 2/2 or 1/1. And we know that's an issue for Tom.
Yeah.
Ladies?
I don't know, these windows, I'm assuming were replaced in the 70s or something to 1/1, whatever they are. I mean, what, like at some point, yeah. I mean, it's nothing that's been recently done. Maybe,
Well-
maybe they could be put back to a more historically accurate light pattern at some point. But I don't think that's. that's not
Yeah,
being-
I don't think that one really holds any weight when we're talking about this right now. I mean, the whole the idea of that at some point in the future, I mean, anything can happen in the future. I think we have to decide this now based on, what's being presented now and what the building looks like now.
And if these are 2/2 now, even though it's because it's on a door and it's not a casement with faux light, like, do you think, Todd, replicating this is such a bad thing to show 2/2? If that's.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think it's one thing if it's staying what it is, which is an original old, very old wood door. I think changing it to a casement window and infilling underneath it, it's going to look different. It's going to look new. And given those things, those elements, I just don't think that it should be a fake 2/2 window just for the sake of, that door had that glass paneling. I mean, we've changed light patterns on numerous occasions in other buildings to make them more cohesive when certain windows are being replaced or an upgrade or, you know, an addition being put on a building or something like that, we have stressed uniformity at those times. So I feel like this is no different. And just because an old door has 4 pieces of glass doesn't mean that a new, completely different style and different size and different material window should be the same.
What if it's just one unit of glass to maximize use?
Can I make one point, which is, I don't believe it's accurate to call this a 2/2. Like, I think it's really, it's really a 2x2, like it's a 4-pane thing. It's what's there. It's not a it's not faking a 2
It's a
over
2x2 pane window, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we can all agree 4 pieces of glass.
Right, but I just think it's just different than 2x2. Like it's a very explicit kind of, yeah, I don't know. To me, that's a different thing in the sense that it's different than, if I haven't seen, I believe, but I actually think I have a photo. Again, not that it's part of this application. I believe that the older, that the windows, they may not have been original, but I believe that the windows that were replaced, the double hung windows, were 1/1. I could be wrong, and it doesn't necessarily matter, but only in that they may have actually coexisted also with this door. I just think it's different as a door. Anyway, I don't think I wouldn't like fight over what the patterning is. I guess I had thought that the intention would have been to replicate. And what I was wondering, there keeps being a notion that this is going to be fake. And I think I mentioned that when I sent out for the quote from Anderson, they, for whatever reason, sent me a true divided light quote. And I don't know if that would change, regardless of whether it's
Yeah.
visible.
I think, sorry, I guess when I say fake, I kind of just mean a replacement. Like any new material replacement window, in my opinion, is sort of a fake version of the original. That's all. I use the wrong word.
Okay.
It just, the the window contractor is coming out. I think that I would like to keep it 1/1, and I don't think, I don't know if we're talking about a true divided light or a simulated divided light. Because, obviously, the larger the piece of glass, less that they have to deal with all of the woodworking of cutting in a true divided light. So, well, I mean, we have the literature there, so what does it say?
I just didn't think from the distance from Railroad Ave that there would be much of a distinction by the eye. I mean, I guess if it's coming down to that, then the other existing windows that aren't double hung on that facade are all just single lights. So I don't know
And
why.
Kate just suggested that. I would be okay with that also. I think that would visually make more sense too.
That's fine with me.
Not a prominent facade, the other windows like that, it's not trying to be anything, it's just
Right.
as clean as it can be, as modern as it can be, single light, maximum opening.
Okay.
And this is what the black space is.
Okay, so are we leaning now towards, one light? No, one.
I think we're all okay with, you're okay with that, right, Todd?
Yeah, I think either the 2 panes or just one large light of glass is either one is better for me. They're both good.
Either. Go ahead, pick either
I choose the one pane of glass.
one pane of glass. Okay.
Good choice.
Says the public.
Okay, okay, the last point, and this is the only one that I really have a preference. The panel under the window. You know, I think the size of the window is fine, but I think that the bottom should, that just looks too awkward, but looks like an obvious fill. I mean, stucco probably be the preferred. Well, let me ask you a question. Is it gonna be casement the way that you drew it? Because right now you've got casement, but it doesn't go across the top, so the window is gonna wind up moving down.
Just because it basically brushes that eave. You can see how that door brushes that eave, so. As we're sitting here talking, I think leaning towards and just myself looking at that wood there, that leaning towards doing the stucco and just, I think, learning how not to make it crack.
But I guess just to clarify, am I correct that this casement, the eve would probably be someplace here?
Like, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think, just tucked right there. You know, I think,
Because basically the door comes out and you're just gonna fill it in and frame out an opening for the window.
yeah, and I think that I probably misconstrued what the opinions of the board would be, because I think there was some notion in my mind of maintaining some kind of historical shadow of it having been a door, which may or may not, doesn't sound like that's something that is relevant to everyone, that maybe I made up in my mind that it would be. So that rather than doing all of this, just framing it out and then patching the stucco.
Well, I mean, certainly one of the options that would be available, at least in my mind, is see how this is just a plain panel.
Yeah,
So why can't that be plain panel also?
Like a single mimic a door.
Huh?
To mimic the door, more of
Yeah.
a door panel, then I think that would be cleaner.
it could be, but I mean, maybe just the stucco would be fine. I don't know if
And you have
that's,
the sill there too, right, just like clean it up and make it a window, right?
I think framing this replacement window and doing stucco, patching stucco underneath it is the most visually appropriate.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, agreed.
All right, so this is all gonna be stucco underneath over here in the panel below.
yeah, that's better. I think I just missed, maybe I missed page where the.
I don't know what I mean, true.
Okay. So we've clarified 3 points. Are there any other questions or issues? Okay, Lauren, do we have a motion?
We have a motion to approve a replacement window with a single light, with stucco infill below the window
Okay, so then what's the application as?
as modified, yeah. As I.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second,
All right, Todd?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, you got it.
Right. So you'll write that, when you said as modified, you'll write that language?
Yeah, in other words, I'll take this thing, I've got a blue beam, so I'll modify it, put in notes, stuff like that.
All right, great. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Okay. Okay, let's do the signage application. And then we'll.
Alright,
talk about it. So,
I'm recusing from this one. Ted Henderson, what have you been up to?
Ken,
Hi, so Kate and I are gonna open up a ceramic store on Main Street and we'd like to put up a sign on the building. We've submitted a visual proposal of the sign and then I have a drawing of the bracket, so I can go over that with you guys.
yes, please do.
Sign is going to be made, it's gonna be 20 inches, it's gonna be a circle, and double-sided, it's gonna be aluminum face with a PVC core. Printed with Avery vinyl and 3M laminate. The bracket is gonna be powder coated black steel, flat bar connected to a round bar in a triangle shape.
We don't have,
This I made today. Can I show you guys this bracket, the drawing?
the two. Is there a change in how the sign is gonna be held?
Yeah, it's gonna be on 2 points, one here and one here.
Okay, so, the circle is going to be made, it's an aluminum disc,
Aluminum face with a PVC core,
PVC form.
double-sided, yes. Basically have a vinyl on either side of it.
And this is the font, the colors are black and white,
Blue and white.
blue and white, like a dark.
Like a little bit dark.
Okay, but we don't get into that. So much. stuff. Can't talk about what content is.
We can talk about font.
Font, we can.
That's what I
I
asked
think
about.
that's, I take it back.
Not quite there yet.
Pretty close.
You got any questions?
I mean, I'm just looking at what Kate emailed. Is that pretty much what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Except the bracket that hangs, that the sign will hang from is now a 2-point connection rather than a 1-point connection. So it, for lack of a better comparison, it's less like a dog tag kind of
Yeah.
thing and more probably.
It's because of the ready-made object, so it'd be cheaper to be honest. I mean, there's different options. There's curly one, but I think I like the other one better. So. When I go with the standard.
I don't have any issue with the 2-point. Is that what you would prefer?
Yeah, that's what you brought in today.
It's
more
stable too, yeah, for the
Yeah, it seems like it. I can't see this, but I don't have any issue with the 2-point. It does. How it depends how close you want my face to get to this camera right now. It seems like it would be more stable to me as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be the best. I think it'll look nicer too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and these are steel bars. And you said it was powder
Powder coated black. a screw into the building. It'll be above head height.
Have you talked to the, village board about this? Okay, because, I think that, need to get permission because it's cantilevered over a sidewalk.
Technically not the sidewalk because they have their own little front patio. So, so that's what's interesting about this building is it's set back a bit.
What I would do, okay, offering advice. You check with the village, because I think the village, for example, that house that they're rebuilding further up. down, They had to buy this area from the village.
Oh, that's right, those steps weren't actually theirs.
They're
The
37.
project next to, yeah, 137, next to Hudson.
Where the
old
plant store was?
Plant wild, or, yeah, so they're building a portion,
Real
they
estate.
bought those steps to from the village.
Yeah, to buy the
So that
stoop.
makes sense, the stupid, they're building
Yeah,
stoop.
because it's been a recurring thing up and down, Main Street. People have put out these bracketed signs. There is an issue because it's cantilevered. I think there is a insurance issue. And if this is village property, then village needs to keep the insurance. So it's something which I think we need to follow up on, but that has nothing to do with what.
It might not be,
Who's-
it's owned by the village, it might not be
Who should I
possible.
contact?
Is it lit up? I'm sorry.
The heated vest?
It's their issue.
There's a little thing right here. Is it
Oh,
lit?
this is,
The heated vest, yeah.
yeah, it's a heated vest.
Oh, well, look at you.
Got a little battery here with, it turned on as I was leaving.
Technology.
So,
Who's the contact now?
well, I think you probably need to talk to the village clerk.
Town clerk, okay.
And,
Yes, Greg Henson.
right, yeah, and last clerk was Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff Kovic.
Budakovich.
Okay. So, do I have a motion concerning the bracket and the sign?
Motion.
Oh, she can't.
Well, we
Yeah.
can we?
Todd?
Yeah. I would make a motion to accept the application
As modified,
this evening.
okay. Or-
I second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now, the only thing is that I'm going to have to ask you to give us an electronic version of this and revise this electronically.
Oh, no problem.
Based on,
Okay.
Just to recap, the revision on the document.
and the only,
The bracket
bracket will be a
will be
2-point connection versus a 1-point connection as presented in the drawings, give that.
and also on this particular document, if you could put in, call out, the materials of the sign.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
And if we don't get it, we know,
Boards are great.
know who to try.
I also thought about doing in ceramic.
Okay,
Bring ceramic up here.
Cool.
It is nice.
All right.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, now.
Are we done being up here?
Huh?
Are we done being up here?
If you want, but
I just like, do we sit in the thrones? While we're going
I
down?
don't wanna move. I'm
Okay,
going.
never mind. Okay. My own, okay.
Although the other's better.
Um,
Yeah.
I have some questions concerning the comments. Because I think that some of it doesn't address.
Oh, one of them's not even the real thing.
This is the whole,
Yeah, this is the appendix, which is somehow.
so I read the PDF, I just split it into two because my computer kept on freezing, but I'm worried it didn't include the appendix.
Well, the 700 and something pages.
Yeah, it was.
I was.
Yeah, and
No, it didn't.
a lot of those pages. I think one of the things which may simplify what we're doing is, they break the trail up into two portions, the north and the south. Now, obviously,
The north, they dabble in south content though,
right, it's not even in Putnam County.
but I mean, in the first half of the presentation is the north, and the second is the south, and ideally we could just read the second, but there's a lot of content about the north, the south in the north section. I thought, when I was taking notes.
Okay, you talk about in appendices that,
In the main section, like, I have my notes, so let me.
do you have the Google Doc here on your computer?
the what?
The notes that, we sent around. Okay.
Would you guys like me to pull up this visually so you can see it? Did you just shudder?
No,
Like,
I mean, I don't know, should we? I don't know what, like, in particular, we could.
Everyone, when we finally do need it, but I don't.
I just felt like it's so huge.
Just in reading the appendices for the southern portion of it, seems like there was a lot of stuff which they blew off and said, there's not gonna be any change, you know.
Well, I mean, here's one, crowding in village. While crowding would still occur with the proposed action, the fjord trail would divert pedestrians arriving by Metro North away from Main Street and toward the fjord trail entrance at Dockside, reducing pedestrian access to Main Street. So it doesn't, they're adding people, so they can't reduce.
Well, I
Well,
think, but then our comment is like that you need to flesh that out more,
Yeah.
because you're making a blanket statement, but you're not giving any details really about that.
Right. Well, and the thing is that there are statements where they say, well, there are a lot of visitors, but we're gonna add more, and it's gonna be okay.
I agree. I picked up one statement towards the end, sort of summarizing it.
And then there also might be weddings, they suggest doing it Dockside. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I am worried that Dockside will.
Well, and
Kind of
the other
part
thing
of
is
the,
that, you know, according to the DEI, yeah, whatever. The initials, village is responsible for Dockside.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's all nice and good. They keep talking about, you know, adding toilets down there. Well, okay, you know, so who maintains those toilets? As it is, I think the village is having a hard time keeping up the speed of the two toilets that they have here at the bottom of Main Street. Now they're gonna add a bunch of toilets, handicap accessible toilets, at Dockside.
That may or may not.
To your
connect to the
point,
sewage.
where do the people who need those get to the part from the village? Be the handicap accessible. you remind me, I don't think my computer's on the network. Yeah. And the network name. I somehow never did it.
It should, so it should be DCS. WN.
Cool, okay, so I'll try to, now if you're, oh yeah.
Oh, then you're in, if you see that.
I'm in. Perfect, yep. I also have something in my notes about Fair Street and just village property in general, all this close, and it's about the boundary of their work, and it says state and national register, the boundaries of the state and national register listed Cold Spring Historic District are not within the portion of the APC that includes the proposed Pure Trail South Main Trail, and views from buildings that area do not have clear or proximate views of the main trail corridor. The main trail of Pure Trail South would not be located within the historic district.
But that's why we specifically call that the meander.
Right, so
So like,
the meander will exist either way,
right,
whether they design it or not, it will become.
right.
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be an impact, you know, whether it runs through the district or not.
So I thought Lauren's summary was, really, really solid and clear and with a really nice tone, honestly, it's very distinct and direct. I didn't have, and I have some comments just for us to think over, but I don't really have for us.
I think they can be in court, so, yeah, I think they. Can be incorporated. You took the Bar Harbor one out.
I did,
Yeah.
because other than it being overrun by tourists, I don't know that it was. It's just, don't want to be in Bar Harbor.
Right.
That is not something that.
Yeah.
A lot of church. At Al's point, I think when he first mentioned the ADA access from the train station, really hit home for me that that's the issue in general, how the trail is beginning or ending, you know, in the village, at least the node, but arguably a major. Right? What does that mean for people going to and from it? Yeah, I think I have bike racks.
Yeah, the bike racks was a good idea. Oh, but the bike racks was something that's good.
Okay,
Trash cans, yeah.
Be widened.
all right. So these are my comments on the thing that you wrote up. This entire paragraph where we're comparing Cold Spring to Beacon. That should, you know, that really doesn't make any difference one way or another. Who cares which one's bigger and which one isn't? So my feeling is that I don't even want to offer up.
Where was that?
It's the third paragraph on the first page.
Okay,
I think that's an important thing to mention personally, because it's this, the trail is between two places and the impact on one is gonna be different than the impact on the other. And I think you can't really argue. I don't think we are arguing. I think in fact,
No,
we are, what Lauren wrote is exactly what part of the problem is that Beacon is much more easily able to absorb additional tourists, parking, et cetera, than we are. So I personally like that.
Well, but my feeling is that, it's really neither here nor there. The impact on the village, is not related to the impact of Beacon. Can have all sorts of impacts on Beacon, and certainly the conditions that they have are a lot more or much different from the ones that we're dealing with on the southern part of this the trail.
So, well, my question to you is, what if we just take the sentence about the comparison to Beacon out, are you okay having that paragraph? Because I think all of those challenges are what we're talking about, specifically for Cold Spring.
And I do remember.
Well, it's only two sentences, and one, it talks about poses a unique challenge to the HHFT due to the size of the populations. And, you know, I'm not totally sure I'm all that concerned about the challenges that it poses to them. What we're pointing out are the challenges that they are imposing on us.
Maybe, I mean, that's a good point. Can we just rephrase it? Because you're talking about the short commercial strip, the historic layout with narrow street, you know,
I think that's really important to keep it, that part is important.
vital.
Yeah,
So can we just say, you know, the village is all challenged with this existing, condition? How you phrase it, but then layering on HHFT.
Well, yeah, phrasing it in terms of it's more of a problem for the village because of its smaller size than it is for Beacon because of its larger size.
so what if we just wrote, the HCRB recognizes that the village of Cold Spring poses a unique challenge due to its size, just say the population of Cold Spring, its unique geography, its relatively short linear commercial strip, historic layout of its narrow streets, as well as its cohesive historic and architectural character. Are you okay with that?
Why don't you rewrite it and I'll withhold judgment until we're closer to the final version of this.
Okay, I'm just gonna flag it on the document right now.
Yeah, take a look at it. I don't want to give them excuses or you know, take the onus from them and put it on us. The fact that we're a smaller municipality shouldn't, you know, as far as I'm concerned, should not make it easier for them or, you know, give them an excuse to do things which ultimately will harm the village.
Bro, I don't think that's inferred at all from what's being said.
I thought it meant, I thought it was sort of a challenge for them.
I agree.
I
Well,
agree.
because this is a unique design, unique area, it needs a unique design problem that they haven't, design solution that they haven't thought out yet.
That's how I read it too.
Well, I think it should be stated as not, it's a unique challenge. What if we say it's their responsibility to deal with Cold Spring differently than they are dealing with Beacon because of different size?
I think it's a sense. Without being like, it's your responsibility
Well,
to do this, which I feel like can, I don't know, strike a not,
I mean, yeah, go ahead. I definitely think it's something you cannot ignore. It's a good point and strengthens your argument. I think the assumption is that this organization is approaching Cold Spring as if it is the same, it parallels it. And it doesn't. It doesn't have the capacity, it doesn't have the funding, and it certainly doesn't have the staff to expend, you know, cleaning these toilets, providing emergency services in those moments. I think it's an important piece to add because Cold Spring is very small. It's 1,000 people or 2,000 people. I think 1,000 homes, maybe even less. So if you could is formulated in a manner where it doesn't take away from your argument, but strengthens it, I think it would be important to know.
Yeah, I think we're all basically saying the same thing, just finding the
I
right,
have this right.
language.
Did I send this?
I mean, after there's letters written, I think this summer
It's
by
really long.
Cold Spring.
Just a Google
and
Doc, it's really
numerous
long.
Board members sort of
The comments that.
raising
I've
concerns about
done.
Cold
It's very
Spring, and
based
then
on a lot.
immediately after the sewer trail got.
Yeah,
revised,
I'll share.
Letters written by
Sure.
Beacon, Fishkill.
I mean, maybe I didn't do it because I was worried,
So I do
like,
think
it's not official.
yes, yes, like,
But
because
send
it works
to you.
there,
Not
so like,
that-
let's talk about.
Well,
Let's see
well,
how we
I think, I don't, when I read this, to me, it sounded like, well, this becomes
our burden,
an excuse for them to ignore the issue.
that we don't want that.
I mean, I think, yeah,
All right.
I tried really
I-
hard
I'm-
not
I'm-
to do
I'm telling you,
that. Too subtle?
I'm telling you what my
It is
concern is.
noted, it is
Yeah,
noted,
And you can,
I highlighted this paragraph and I put the part you don't like in parentheses, and I said, Al doesn't think we should talk about Beacon and that we shouldn't say unique challenge. Because
That's
it is
right.
their
I think-
responsibility.
right, keep the responsibility on them, because they it annoys me when you've got 700 pages, of which easily 60% is redundant.
Oh my God,
Great.
yeah.
I mean, it's a government, it's a government.
Okay, so
But then the
Page 2.
standard is different on every page. It either doesn't exist, it exists to the end of the fair going down Main.
So you actually would like stronger language here? That's what you're saying?
okay,
Is
so
that what you're saying, Al? You want like stronger, firmer language?
yeah, I think that it annoyed me when I read all of their conclusions and I don't see how they can claim that adding more people, they start off in saying, there are a lot of people that show up at the village. The village is struggling with, a lot of tourism and so, a lot of visitors. And we're gonna add a bunch more, but it's not gonna be a problem.
Yeah, I don't understand that. It's not, doesn't get the attention that, like I said last time, the rattle get.
It's really important.
All right. So
I'm not kidding, like, it's very important, but yeah,
on the next page, let's
Okay,
move on to the
keep
next
going.
page.
all right.
So we've got two dates, which I don't know, if anybody's got the time to do the research, to dig that out.
I'm sure it's in one of those Cold Spring books, I just didn't look at it yet, so like, those sepia ones.
Okay. I mean, I think we can leave the dates off and, leave the sentence, but take the dates out, but if we can get the dates, that's all it is. Now, I do have an objection when it talks about, currently the village has 2 municipal parking lots. They don't, they have 1. The other one is Metro North. It is not a municipal parking lot. During the week, you have to pay to park in that lot.
Wait, I'm sorry, which paragraph is this? Oh, okay, right there. Okay, the village has 2, visitors to the village use 2
Well,
lots?
and see, the thing is that, I would take out the phrase 2, because there aren't 2. There's 1 municipal lot, and then you have the Metro North train station. And that is a
Has
a
1.
parking lot that is dedicated Metro North. They happen to, on the weekend, not charge parking, but, during the week, if you wanted to, park, you'd have to pay.
And the other. And the metro, okay, so,
Instead of saying municipal parking lot, why don't you say that there's 1 municipal parking lot and the Metro North train
it
station
just says,
parking?
I just rewrote it. Currently, the village has 1 municipal parking lot at Fair Street next to the sewage treatment plant. And the parking lot at the Metro North train station.
Okay. Now, the other thing which I think, the village currently struggles with parking availability and vehicular congestion that highlights the need to address parking concerns, which the village has been working creatively to address. I think that, we should mention the fact that just recently the village imposed metered parking on Main Street, as part of that, because it's a verification or, something which you can point to and say that the village does indeed have parking issues.
So when was that in this? Oh,
Last
yeah, you're right. Okay, so in the spring of 2024, the village imposed metered parking along Main Street. To try and solve the parking. Try and address the parking.
And I think their report acknowledged that the only municipal lot on that's on Fair Street is filled up on weekends. So that's already
Well,
can't be done.
to me, and this is why I think, if they want to do it, maybe they can start the trail at Dockside, because
And
that
I'll-
takes it out of the entire circulation within the village itself. I think on the weekends, there's no more room at the end. Okay.
For the record, I disagree completely with that. I think that just will make all of the problems infinitely worse. Starting it at Dockside, I think would be I think that's part of the challenge here, is that we don't have say over whether the rest of the trail happens or any of the trail happens. The challenge is that we may end up having to deal with the repercussions and the consequences of the trail regardless. And starting it at Dockside, where there are going to be 100 parking spaces, is going to be a disaster, because everyone is going to take the train to Cold Spring and walk down Fair Street just like they do now to get to those trails. So I really very strongly do not think that we should be putting that sentiment in here. I am fine with a lot of the language Lauren is using, and the things that she's bringing up, I think are all very valid challenges for them to overcome. But simply proposing that they don't do it in the village at all, in my opinion, and if you guys all disagree and I'm outvoted, that's fine. But I think that would be a colossal mistake.
Yeah, I think when I was thinking about this and putting this together, I thought it was very important to really address what we can address as a board within what happens in the historic district. And so I think we can talk about things that are, I agree. I don't think we can say whether or not we
Well,
have an opinion on that.
I don't think.
Even though I privately have an opinion on that, but I don't think it's for us to.
I
weigh
don't
in
think
on.
we should be recommending to them how they address it. But I strongly disagree with you, Todd, as far as the impact that Dockside is going to have as far as the village goes. Because, for example, the next paragraph talks about 3 ways in which traffic from Main Street, Upper Main Street, crosses the tracks to get to Lower Main Street. But those are all pedestrian walkways. How about the cars? Now, as far as I know, there's only one way that cars will get down to Dockside, and that's over Lund Terrace. So if we have people arriving by car who want to go to Dockside, where are they going to park?
I think that I
There's-
thought we addressed that the best way that we could in here by highlighting that there are already problems with parking and they're limited.
Except I think it should be a little bit more, uh, you're being very gentle with them. And I think that we should be a little bit more robust and say, there's a parking issue. There's a parking issue along Main Street. If you make Dockside the terminus, you're gonna have people who will come to, Cold Spring and look for parking after they drop the people off at Dockside.
Yeah, but Al, that's your personal opinion. I mean that's your opinion. That's what this document and the purpose of all this research and all of the consultants and all the traffic studies and all these things, that's what the purpose of the document is. So we are commenting on the document, not speculation on, oh my God, I think the world's gonna end if this happens or not. I mean, the same thing can be said for what I just said.
All right.
As far as it not starting at Dockside, but I think Lauren is correct in that we are highlighting issues. Personally, I think it was very well done from top to bottom, Lauren. I don't think you're being too gentle at all. I think you were saying all of the things in great detail that we discussed the last meeting.
I found that this entire document was incredibly self-serving. In other words, no matter what they studied, none of it made any sense except what they're proposing. And, it should be that way, but the thing is that some of the conclusions that they drew, I find incredible. I mean, they acknowledge the fact that, there is a parking problem, there is a congestion problem in Cold Spring as it is right now. They're talking about, inviting or making it, easier for more visitors to come to visit.
And they're going to be
Cold Spring.
suggesting that those visitors are parking elsewhere or taking the train to Cold Spring or to Beacon or to Breakneck or all of these various other points. So
Okay, but that's my point. Where are they going to be parking? And if
well, we
they-
just established there are there is the MTA lot and there's the municipal lot at Fair Street. But I think Lauren is bringing up all of the valid points that we discussed in the last meeting about what is your signage going to look like if you're trying to if you're saying you're going to direct people to other places to park or provide shuttles or all these other things. What does the signage look like?
What's the signage going to look like when we add more signage? I mean,
That's literally what we're asking them to
finish
do.
up.
Yeah.
Let me finish up. I am a little taken aback by how many signs have been put up because of this metered parking. Seems like there's every 2 blocks, there's a sign which talks about, how to pay for the metered parking. I mean, if you look at the sidewalk, along Main Street, I feel it's well over signaged as it is. And you're talking about adding more signage?
I think we all agree with you about that, and that's why we brought it up, and that's why we're saying that any signage that's within the district, we want to be able to review as such, and, right, I mean.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
would have been nice if the village staff talked to us about their metered signage.
Sure. I mean, but that's not in the GIS, so,
Okay, look, so I think that as far as that paragraph, while we talk about the ways that you can walk down to Dockside Park, I think that one of the issues that is not being addressed is the fact that the
ADA?
no, well, ADA, I haven't even gotten to that, but I mean, car traffic. There's only one road which gets from Upper Main Street to Lower Main Street, that's Lund Terrace. That means that if we're gonna increase the number of people arriving by car, it's gonna increase traffic on that one street.
I mean, I think that's what is basically being said here, though, by highlighting that. I mean, we literally say that the elevated roadway, Main Street extension, which is Lund Terrace, is the only,
Well, it says there are currently 3 ways to cross the train tracks to reach Dockside on foot.
okay, let's just say Dockside.
I didn't reread this before the meeting, but when I first read it, I felt like all of my concerns were hit. Is it clear that we're saying in all of these 10,000 pages, the village has not been designed? There's not a solution to the issues that are being faced in the village, and we need to design through what that would look like, because we're not, even if we're pro Fjord Trail going to Dockside or pro Fjord Trail going to Little Stony Point, the connection to the village is still not solved.
And I think we
so-
said that in the second paragraph. Like it says, while the HDRB appreciates the level of attention that they've given to many of the anticipated effects of the surrounding area, we find that detailed information on how the increased tourism resulting from the HHFT will directly impact the historic character of the village. A Cold Spring to be noticeably absent.
Yeah.
I think that's the,
That's great. I mean, I can't get my head around the trail ending, the parking lot not being at the trail, and there being no documents showing that, the egress to get from the parking lot to the trailhead, and ADA and strollers, and I mean, coming in on the train, if you're coming from New York City and you have a stroller, what's the plan? Are you hoping that the elevator, the MTA elevator is working? That's kind of your only option. If you're coming down Main Street, are you going and using Metro North infrastructure as well? Because it feels like this is basically saying it's their responsibility to get the trail to the village, and after that, it's not their responsibility. And so that's sort of the issue, right? Like, please don't land a trail in the village without thoroughly designing through what it means to get everyone out of the village.
Well, I think that the thing that concerns me the most is what was raised at the very end. We talk about fences.
I think everyone will have to put up a fence to give
Well,
themselves privacy from all these tourists.
yeah, I mean, realistically, with all of these people walking around as it is, there is a big push on the part, or there was a big push by people to build fences which are higher than what is currently projected. And I know that that was something which, the front yard fences were purposely kept low in order so that, you would see the buildings behind it, and you'd have, some sense of what the district was all about.
Yep.
As well as, maintaining that sense of a community. But, if you now have a whole bunch of people tromping in and out, I think that is going to affect,
I agree.
that's gonna be one of the things which is going to be a price.
Right, I totally agree. The property across from the train station on Market with the 3 garages, I understand that they at some point had to add a fence because people were getting off the train and bringing their picnic lunches and going onto their lawn to have a picnic lunch.
Well, actually, it's the one right next.
Okay. And so that's
And-
happening
and-
already.
And I remember that they came, and, I was talking to because that's right next to my house, and, I was talking to the owner, and he said, well, they just come off and then you start going in and they go straight to the river. So it becomes an issue, an impact, as far as the rest of the community along the way. And it doesn't address the issues that I had, talked about before. Actually, is this the appendices?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess, hey, Todd. Let's see. The different alignments that they looked at. For example, alignment number 2. I'm not sure I understand how they get from the station to the causeway.
I guess it's similar issues. This is coming past the visitors booth behind the Depot restaurant. Still a question about how people get from the Metro North parking lot. There's no, yeah, even though they've dashed the line in here, for consistency, they should dash the line there, right? The dash line is meant to represent not a trail, I believe.
Shared line.
Shared.
Because there was one way that I thought where they could provide ADA accessibility. That is if they stay on platform level southbound. And if they follow that over to Main Street and then make a left. Theoretically, they could do
So
that.
elevator.
No.
Southbound,
Well,
north.
yeah, I mean, if you're coming from the south, you'd have to get on the elevator, go up, and then come down to the platform. Because the
And then you're at
platform
grade. Yep.
does in fact go to Main Street.
Yep.
And so theoretically, that could be made accessible all the way
Yep, it
to,
already has ramps and I don't know, but yeah, that's closer. Yeah. And that avoids sort of all this traffic getting to Lower Main.
well.
But I don't know as far
and-
as cars accessing the trail.
Yeah, and to me, the issue really is more as far as this becoming an automobile destination, and that is my concern.
That could work. A line of cars dropping people off.
All right, have I vented enough?
I'm here. Just have my camera off. I'm eating something. I do have like a hard out in about 10, 15 minutes. I don't know if we.
Yeah, I think, we have, at least I have vented, so, let's move on. I think I've covered all of my, the comments that I had on my, so, how do we want to proceed? Because there is a lot of information here, which, do we want to, keep it so that it's just the things that affect HDRB?
Yeah,
Because,
I probably feel like we have.
because the mayor sent us a list of the chapters that she wanted us to look at.
I thought that she meant that those were relevant to various, parts of those were relevant to the various boards.
Well, if you look at the email, it was specific to the different boards.
I think she was saying, it's up to you. This is my thinking as far as that.
I think Lauren summarized pretty much all of the thoughts and concerns that we all had in the last meeting. I don't see any reason we need to expand on that. I think it's all been covered. If you have something specific to add, I guess we talk about that. But I mean, it's a pretty well fleshed out letter, and I think it addresses everything.
The planning board will be studying, if they follow Mayor Foley's proposal, traffic and transportation, visitor management, community character, other things as well, but those are all things we've sort of been talking around. HDRB, historic and archaeological resources, scenic resources, community character, infrastructure, alignment alternatives, cumulative impacts, unavoidable adverse impacts, irreversible and irretrievable commitment resources, coastal zone management program. Consistency. So she does mention the alignment alternatives. I don't know. Yeah, anyway.
It-
All right.
It's hard with this document because it is a draft, because they're not committing to, and specifically to certain, they're not committing to dockside as an end, right? I mean, it's
Well, they
are.
Well,
And like,
what the document is presenting is the preferred route. And what the reason they showed alternatives is because they want to demonstrate that they have looked at alternatives,
Right.
but the analysis of the alternatives is that, you know, there are deficiencies or, you know, inadequacies which are addressed by the main, main the recommended, the main path. So I think what's fair game is that when they sit there and say that, one of the alternatives is not, is not right, because if, well, this is not the form we could go through, think this about it. But, I think that we should take a look at the chapters that the mayor has asked us to look at and see if we have any other comments that we want to.
so does that mean, having another meeting, or what are you suggesting?
Well, I guess let me set a time. Todd, am I correct that you're not going to be adding any more comments or?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so, let's say, Monday of next week. What is that?
So we can
27.
all edit that document? Like, we can go in on our own time and add comments and things?
Well, okay, but I guess that's the question, is that, should it be you're controlling the comments? In other words, I saw that, Kate added, comments to the side.
Yeah.
And was any of that incorporated into the document?
I think she can let, maybe if we just confirm they'll do this, Lauren can look at the history and she can quickly see who's changed what.
Yeah.
So if she wants.
And I think maybe it's good for all of us to go through and add a comment, like if you want to add a paragraph or something, put that in the side.
On the side.
And then at the next meeting, we can talk about whether or not we want to add that.
All right, when do we have to have these comments to the comment collector? Abby?
She said, I believe that you can submit comments from the body separately and therefore use the time between Jan 31 and March 3rd to continue conversation as a board.
Yeah, but that, I thought Village had somebody who's collecting the comments.
Yeah.
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, no, she did, there's someone who's compiling all these comments. And, please prioritize what you believe to be the most pressing concerns here. First deadline, okay, so maybe there is a first deadline that I'm not.
I think the first deadline is
Jan 31st.
Yeah.
Okay, Jan 31st.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay,
So that's soon. Yeah.
so, that's when we have to have it to whoever's collecting the comments, because it's not,
I think,
what?
The lawyer.
oh,
Is that him?
wait,
think
should I
so.
just read?
Lawyer slash planner.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Unless
So
we
it's
hear
due next
otherwise-
Friday.
Yes, unless we hear otherwise, please plan on submitting your comment to the most developed degree possible by January 31st.
January 31st, okay. So what that means is, if we have another visual, or remote meeting, let's say on Monday, let's put it this way. Any further comments that we have need to go to, need to be loaded onto the file that is on Google Drive by 27th. And then that'll give you a chance to take a look at it, see what you think, Lauren. All right,
Well,
because.
I don't wanna like decide just by myself whether I'm adding or not adding ideas, right? So I think that after, I think it may be a better way to go is like, if anybody has anything to add to this document like on the right comment form, then it should be done maybe in the next couple days.
Well,
And then we can all talk about it maybe on a Zoom meeting on Monday. Then then whatever we decide on Monday can be incorporated or not incorporated into this greater document.
well, let's do it this way. Let's make it Monday is when last call on comments. And then have a Zoom meeting on Tuesday. Because essentially we can edit documents at the Zoom.
Sure.
I think that's fine. I think it's so close unless someone, brings a comment in that hasn't been touched on. My gut is it's just refining language, so
This coming month.
we would meet Tuesday, the 28th,
Yeah,
Next Tuesday,
next Tuesday by,
28.
right,
during the day?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a Zoom meeting.
a quick check-in to final document.
As a matter of fact, we can have it during the day, right?
I think zoning has their.
I don't wanna pay for another day. Next Tuesday, my husband's working out of town, like, please. Can we have it during the day? That would be helpful,
Yeah.
during school hours, so.
Right. Well, that's just it. I think, we're talking about 1 o'clock, like, at the last one.
It should be fine. I don't think I have anything scheduled.
What works best for you?
1 o'clock work.
1
Let's
o'clock?
look at that best. I want one.
Would you like to try it out?
You all know what we're getting for Abby next Christmas.
I want to get one for my uncle, and he's like into those gadget knickknacks, whatever. It's cool though.
Yeah, and it actually works fine. The only thing is,
Does it?
it is a battery. Battery does in fact run out.
Oh,
It's maybe about 6 hours.
Disney.
that's not bad. That's pretty good.
Okay, so that's, last call on comments is Monday, the 27th.
By Monday, the 27th.
But-
On Monday.
No,
Right.
and, nothing further. Then we'll have a meeting on, 1 o'clock Tuesday.
I'm not positive that I will be able to make that, but I will try.
We're gonna throw in a whole bunch of, comments that Todd says
1 PM, okay.
1 PM. Do you have any other time that would be better for you?
I just have visitors here. So my parents and some other people. So it just I will do my best to be there for that.
Well, okay, how about, in the morning? Is that better?
No, I don't think any earlier would be any different. I'll probably be able to make it. It'll be just juggling family here.
Okay.
yeah.
And we'll try and any further comments that we get, we'll try to be very brief and get it over very quickly.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Bye.
Aye, all right.
Okay. Thanks. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Todd.
Bye.